everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about my job search and how I landed my first job as a registered nurse on my dream unit. So I took and passed NCLEX on February 12th. Prior to that, I had not done any job applications. All I did was study and focus on NCLEX. Also during that time period, I took different classes to renew my BLS and to obtain my ACLS and PAL certifications. I took those classes because I did not want to do any nurse residency program like most new grads do. If you do not know what a nurse residency program is, the residency program is where different hospitals fund new grads and help them transition from being a student nurse into being a nurse in a hospital. During those programs, you attend different classes and seminars. You also do group projects with the other new grads. You sign up for like a 2 to 3 year commitment, and if you leave before that commitment is over, you have to pay back about $10,000 to $15,000. Now, I'm not saying not to do a residency program because they are helpful and they are good, but it's just I wasn't interested in them. So I took those classes so I could just, it looks good on my resume and I could just go ahead and apply. Because no matter what, when you get hired, there's like a 3 to 6 month a 3 to 6 months training. So you're going to get trained either way it goes. So my job hunt took about a month. The hospitals closest to me that I applied to were not hiring new grad nurses. They wasn't doing a nurse residency, or they weren't hiring new grad nurses at all. They said that they did not have any funding for new grads. So that was just aggravating, and it just put like a little damper in my mood. So I continued to apply to different hospitals. I would go up to the facilities, give them my resume, introduce myself to the HR team and the different recruiters, and it just seemed like nothing was coming through. So it started to be a little discouraging. Luckily, this nurse that I know that I went to high school with, she sent me an email about a hiring event that was going on that following week. The hiring event consisted of going to different hospitals each day of that week and interviewing there for the different positions. Also, another thing I did during my job search was I updated my LinkedIn account and I networked with different nurses and nurse recruiters on there. A lot of them were reaching out to me, setting me up with interviews, even though they were for nurse residency programs, which I did not want to do. At that point, I felt like I didn't have a choice, so I was just going to go ahead and do those interviews. So one of the interviews happened to be that Wednesday during the hiring event. Luckily, the hiring event was every day of the week except for Wednesday, so it's like I still had an interview every day of that week. So I went to the hiring event, and different hospitals, it was different. Some would do group interviews, some would do solo one-on-one interviews. The group interviews were not bad, especially because I was nervous, so it helped calm me down a little bit. But the only thing I did not like about them was that I would be first to answer certain questions, and then the other interviewees would take my answer. They literally would be like, oh yeah, like she said. And I'd be like, come up with your own answer in my head. That's what I was thinking. Like, that's not a good look for you to always be like, oh, like she said. And even some of the nurses who were interviewing had been nurses already before. And it was like, you should know what to say. Like, this is not your first job. This is not your first go around. But still, I guess it made me stand out since they were taking my answers. So I attended those interviews, and that Wednesday I attended the nurse residency program interview. At the nurse residency program interview, in the beginning, they went over what the residency program was about. A few things I didn't like about it was that they would say the first month I would have to travel 50 miles away from home every day of the week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, just to do an orientation. So that was like strike one. Strike two is where they said that they only pay $15 an hour. Yeah, that wasn't enough for me. I went through too much during nursing school. I studied too hard for the NCLEX just to get paid $15 an hour. But hey, if that's you, go ahead and do it. I mean, I'm not knocking you, but it just wasn't for me. At that point, I was just like, I don't even know if I want to stay for the interview, but I just went ahead and stayed because at that point, I couldn't be picky. Nobody had called me back yet, so I went ahead and went along with the interview. That was a group interview as well with me and another person. It wasn't bad. They had me choose like 3 different hospitals that I would want to work at and different units. The only thing I did not like was that they were not hiring for the ER at that point, which was my dream unit. So I was just like, okay, that's strike 3. So it was just like whatever. So I finished off the rest of the week with the hiring event, and all the hospitals during the hiring event would say they were going to get back to you within a week or two. One thing I did not like about the hiring event was that some of the hospitals only wanted to hire you for med surg. I mean, med surg is not bad because you learn, you build upon your foundation. You see a lot of different things in med surg, but I just didn't want to be a med surg nurse, so it was like, okay, whatever. Some of them I did interview for the ER, so it was like, okay, I'll just see what comes along. So that next week, I had not heard back from anybody. So I'm just like, okay, what's going on? And I interviewed for like 5 different hospitals. Somebody need to call me back. Like, what's going on? So I was telling my friend about it. I was just like, girl, I don't know, man. She was like, just chill out. Just wait and see what's going on. So I just chilled out and waited. Also, that next week, somebody at the hiring event had told me about this nurse agency program they were working for. So I applied there, and I had got an interview and hired the same day for the nurse agency. So it was like, okay, I have some backup. They hired, the pay was pretty good. They paid about $22 to $27 an hour. Me being a new nurse, I was like, okay, that sounds about right. That's better than the $15 an hour that the nurse residency program was talking about. So I was just like, okay, I'll have this in the, keep this in the clutch while I wait on the hospitals. That Friday, me and my friend, we went out to eat, and I was just like, girl, man, ain't nobody calling me back. I'm not finna get hired. She was like, girl, just chill out, like she said earlier. So actually, when we were leaving the restaurant, a nurse recruiter called me from the hiring event, and 2 hospitals wanted to hire me. Both were overnight positions, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., which I really didn't want to do overnight, but it was like, okay, at this point, I have no choice. One was for a telemetry unit, and one was for the ER. So, of course, I went for ER because that's the unit that I really wanted. Even though it was overnight, I was like, well, at least it's in the unit that I want. So, if another opening opened up at that hospital for the ER during daytimes, I could always switch. So, I went ahead and accepted the job offer. Listen. I'm so happy I waited because, listen, I'm not gonna tell y'all exactly how much I'm getting paid an hour, but just know it's more than $25 an hour that I'm getting paid. And as a new nurse, that's good because other facilities was telling me 15, like the nurse residency. One facility was like, okay, you'll start off with 20. After 90 days, you'll go to 24, and then after a year, you'll go to 27. I'm making more than all of that. So, patience is the key. So I'm glad I did that. What else? Some nursing interview tips I would say is first your appearance. Make sure your hair is pulled back, light makeup, and you're dressed well. I mean, skirts and dresses past the knee. If you need to wear like heels, make sure they're like the grandma heels, not the club heels you wear to the club. Make sure they're appropriate. You don't want to look like you're on the way to the club or the bar after you leave the interview. Also, some of the questions they would ask was like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Make sure your weaknesses are not that bad. Make sure you can turn your weakness into a positive. For instance, I've said that one of my weaknesses was that I'm too compassionate and I really care about the patients a lot, which could be bad for the ER because they don't stay with you. They either get admitted upstairs to another unit, or they leave the hospital, or the patient can die. So that was like a strength and a weakness at the same time, if you get me. And also, like, another weakness I said was that I'm a new grad nurse, so I don't know everything, but I turned it into a positive by saying that even though I'm a new grad nurse and I don't know everything, I'm willing to learn what I need to know. And I know that with nursing, you learn every day. A nurse that thinks she knows it all is a very dangerous nurse. So make sure you're able to turn your weakness into a positive. They ask different questions like, why this facility? What sets you apart from the other candidates? So make sure you know about that facility, like what they're known for. Like the hospital I got hired for and the position that I chose, they're known for their maternity unit and for a cardiac and stroke award. So make sure you know something about that hospital. If you need to practice interview questions at home, have somebody, a friend or family member, read out questions and you answer them. You want to go in there confident, not too confident, but you want to sound good. You don't want to keep saying like I'm doing right now during this video, but you want to know something. You want to be able to answer the questions. So yeah, my next video is going to be about my new job. I start orientation tomorrow, so I'm gonna start recording tomorrow different things, and then I'll upload my first week, how everything went, and so on. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video.